Thank you for subscribing.
Hey everyone, welcome to Sirant Presents another, and it's been a long time coming, Merlin tutorial. You guys asked me in the comments below to make a tutorial for one of the songs I recently did, so here it is. I am going to give you the very nice and very easy song to play called Lonesome Valley by A.P. Carter and done by many artists. But it's a folk tune, and I love folk. Well, I don't know if it's a folk tune or if it's a gospel tune. It could go either way. It's not overpoweringly religious, but it also does have very religious connotations. Either way, it's a song that you could pull out of your hat, play at a party or a get-together, a campfire, and even if nobody else knew the words, they'd be able to sing along. It's very easy to learn. There's no real separation between choruses, bridges, and verses. It's all verse, meaning that there's one chord pattern through the entire song. Once you know how to play those three chords and what order to play them in, you're done. You can play this song all day long. So let's take a look at it. Let's take a look. The three chords we're going to use, oh geez, I hope I can find my old chord diagrams. I haven't made a video in a while. They got to be out there somewhere, right? Are going to be D, G, and A. Okay. Now, the original song calls for C, F, and G7. Obviously, C can be a bit tricky on these things. With modifications and incredible finger stretches, it is possible, but I find it easier just to transcribe. And in this case, the transcription is perfect. So let's first take a look at the three chords themselves. And again, I'll try to get the diagram up so you guys can see it. So the D chord is obviously the easiest chord on the entire Merlin because that's a D. Don't touch anything on there, and that's a D. If you want to play a different D, that's also a D. So we're looking at the second fret, the bottom two strings. Now, when I play a D, I always, pardon my rudeness, but I always use my middle finger. And the reason for this is going to become clear when we look at the other chords. Now, so D is a big chord, okay? The next chord that we need to learn is the G. Now, G is very simply a bar of the third fret. However, that's not, I don't play it, I've never been good at barring with one finger. Call me crazy. The way I play the bar on the G, and if you've watched any of my ukulele or Merlin videos before, you probably know this. Apologies, but in case this is your first time, I'll show you again. What I do is I put my middle finger on this bottom two strings, and then the top two strings of the third fret right here, the frets are big enough that you can probably actually see that. I'll try to zoom in for you. I bar those with one finger. I use the pad of my pointer finger and I bar those. So I still get my G, but instead of doing it with one finger, I do it with two fingers. And this is important. I'm going to show you why in a second. So we've got the D, which is the bottom two strings, second fret with my middle finger. Now when I want to go to a G, I don't have to lift my finger off at all. I can slide this down to the third fret so I can feel very comfortably without looking where the third fret is, right? And I know where to stop. And then I simply drop my pointer finger. So I go D, G, D, and the middle finger, again, apologies, doesn't come off of the fretboard, right? It gets even better because we go D, we go G. The next chord that we need to know is the A. Now, the A, again, is the bottom two strings on the first fret and the top string on the first fret, leaving the middle string open. That's an A. So now, again, you notice that I have my middle finger on the bottom two strings. Then I just drop my pointer finger on the top string and I have an A. Once again, now this isn't part of this song, but just to show you how powerful this is, how easy this makes it, if I want to make an E, now that I'm in my A position, I simply drop down my pointer finger. Let's see here. Right? So I'm barring those two strings, so there's A, E. The same as the G here, except we do it up here, and that's an E, A, E. But forget about the E. We don't need the E. It's not part of this song. We're going to continue to what we need to know. So we know all three chords. We know the D, we know the G, and we know the A. Now it's just a matter of putting them in order. And again, it's real easy. Once you know the first chord pattern, you know the whole song. There is no deviation. There are no little bridges, no little twiddly bits. It's just the same all the way through. So let's start off. Again, one of the easiest ways for me to learn the timing for songs is simply to go and look up the lyrics online. Or to go to a chord website, like Chordy, for example, my favorite chord website. It allows you to transpose for free. It allows you to build songbooks. Doesn't cost anything. So yeah, I like that one a lot. But there's many sites out there. If there's any songs you can't find on Chordy, they're out there somewhere else. So we know the first line is, well, you got to walk that lonesome valley. And we're going to do a switch from D to G to D. The trickiest part about this song is just the timing. The switch from D to G and back again is relatively quick. We're not talking speed metal quick, but it's a little bit quick. So you'd be going along like this. Well, you gotta walk, waiting, that. Now when you hit that and you're gonna go Lonesome Valley, you slide down, lonesome, and then when you hit valley, you slide back up, valley. So it sounds like this without lyrics. Nice and easy. Do it again here. So you start off with your D, slide down to the G, then slide back to D. Real easy. If you want to make it even easier, play the open D. It still works, and maybe for your singing style, maybe you have a deeper voice, that might be better for you anyway. But for me, the C here, the C3, is that what it is? I don't know. It works for me. I like it. So we do that little switch, right? So D, G, D. Next line is the A chord. We go, you gotta walk it. At walk, we want to switch to our A. It by your, and now halfway between yourself, yourself, we switch back to our D. So let's do that again. So you gotta walk it. Oh, sorry. It's hard until you get it going here. I'm gonna start from the first bit, and then we'll get to that part because then it's easier for me to keep track too. Well, you gotta walk that lonesome valley. You gotta walk it by yourself. All right, you see I did the switch in between yourself. So that's the whole chord pattern. So forget about the lyrics. I'm just gonna show you the chords. So it's gonna be D, slide to G, and then slide right back to D. Then it's going to be another few more Ds, and then we slide up to A, and then back to D. So I find on the A, you're there a little bit longer than you are on that G is the quickest one, because it's just one word. Well, you got to walk that lonesome valley. You got to walk it by yourself. So there's a little bit more time there, but once you start actually singing the song, listening to the song, you'll catch it really easy, that little spot. So let's do the entire first verse. Like I said, every verse is almost lyrically the same. There are very few changes, like you got to walk that lonesome valley. Now, mother walked that lonesome valley. Father walked that lonesome valley. John was a Baptist. That's the weirdest batch of lyrics because it goes off of everything else. But then it comes right back to you've got to walk that lonesome valley, and it goes all the way through for the next 4 or 5 verses. But it's all this exact same pattern. So once you can do this, and you're comfortable just doing this, you can actually sing any words to the song, right? Doesn't matter what you're saying, as once you get this down, it's the same. This is the beauty of folk music. Always the same pattern over and over again. Hey, here, let me show you. You gotta walk that lonesome valley. You gotta walk it by yourself. Nobody else can walk it for you. You gotta walk it for yourself. So it doesn't matter how you sing it. It doesn't matter what the lyrics are. It's always the same thing. It's going to be the D, quickly slide to a G and slide back. And then we're going to play around a little bit more, then we're going to slide to an A, couple more strums, and slide back. So there's a tutorial for you on Lonesome Valley, a nice easy song, easy lyrics. Like I said, it's almost the same all the way through. But I'm going to come at you with another song here in just a minute. It's going to be a quadruple decker. I'm going to show you how to play this song on ukulele. I'm going to show you how to play this song on Merlin one way, Merlin two ways, Merlin three ways that make it even easier. Probably the easiest song I've ever played on Merlin. Stick around for the next video. And don't forget to hit subscribe. Give me a thumbs up, and we'll see you next time, guys.
Thank you for subscribing.